Welcome back to Remembering America 250. I'm your host, Matthew Heberbrand. So far, we have commemorated the 250th anniversary of events that occurred in New York, Massachusetts, Florida, and even Canada, as well as the actions of the Continental Congress in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today's anniversary finally takes us to the American South. Patriots in all of the colonies had formed committees of safety, which, in effect, were rival governments to the royal governors in these colonies. And ever since the first gunshots at Lexington and Concord, these committees of safety and the British forces under royal governors have begun a process of racing to control various forts throughout the colonies. And, in one aspect more important than the forts themselves, were the arms and ammunitions that these forts contained. So, by the beginning of September 1775, the Council of Safety in Charlestown, South Carolina, was eyeing the British fort on James Island, Fort Johnson. This fort had been constructed in 1708 to protect the colony from the French and Spanish during Queen's Anne War, and was still being manned by British troops. The Patriots wanted not only control of the fort to protect Charlestown and its harbor, but also the fort's guns, cannon, and ammunition. The British, unfortunately, were tipped off to the Patriots' plans. Rather than stay and fight, the British retreated and took their guns with them. So, on the morning of September 15, 1775, Patriot forces under Colonel William Moultrie of South Carolina's 2nd Regiment advanced on the fort and found the gates open and only 5 British soldiers remaining, without any cannon. The British soldiers were captured, and the Patriots took control of the fort. Knowing that the British man of war HMS Tamar and sloop of war HMS Cherokee were patrolling the harbor, and that the fort was useless without cannon to defend itself against bombardment, the Patriots brought over cannon from the Charlestown artillery. They also brought gin. At this point, the goals of the Council of Safety were purely defensive, and they did not want to provoke a battle with the British. Nevertheless, the Council of Safety wanted the British to know that the Patriots were in possession of the fort. So they mandated that Colonel Moultrie design a flag to replace the British flag that the fort contained. Moultrie was inspired by the blue uniforms of his men, which featured a silver crescent. So he designed a dark blue flag with a silver crescent in the Dexter corner. That flag is the forebear of today's flag of South Carolina. By this point, South Carolina's royal governor had fled Charlestown aboard the Tamar. He sent his secretary to Fort Johnson to inquire under whose authority the fort had been taken. Lieutenant Curzon Isaac Mott replied that it was taken under the orders of the Council of Safety. After the secretary left, the Patriots braced themselves for a shootout. But it never happened. The British began a general blockade of Charlestown Harbor, but at this point would not initiate cannon fire against Fort Johnson or Charlestown. The Council of Safety realized the minimal impact Fort Johnson had in defending the harbor, and ordered the construction of a new fort on Sullivan's Island. That would become a fort named after Colonel Moultrie. Here, the Patriot forces on land and the British forces at sea would stand in a sort of stalemate. They would carefully watch each other as both sides attempted to prevent the other from taking goods in and out of the harbor. There would be some skirmishes, but a general battle would not erupt until the following year. For now, let's commemorate those early South Carolina Patriots and celebrate the 250th birthday of their state flag. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.